Hi, I'm Annie Botticelli, and this is the Storyteller Forecast for Gemini for March 2016. Check out my website, anniehelpsyou.com, where you can see more about my blog, including an astrology blog and one on health topics. And while you're there, sign up for my free email newsletter, which makes you part of my VIP crew. And there's lots of perks that go along with that, including more things I have planned for the future. So what is happening in March? We've got a lot of crazy things, namely the eclipses. We also have influence from Mars retrograde getting very strong. There's a beautiful trine between Jupiter and Pluto on March 16th, which is a magical day. That trine will happen again in June, so it's telling a story of expansion and transformation in general. And that's a lot. And there's also almost daily other aspects that are happening that we don't even have time to talk about because they're less important in some ways than these bigger ones. So let's just take it piece by piece. Let's talk about the eclipses. Eclipse time happens every spring and every fall. Sometimes the actual eclipses don't happen exactly when it's officially spring or officially fall, but it's like in the weeks before then. So we call them the spring and fall eclipses, which of course they would be reversed for my friends down under. But in any case, these eclipse cycles bring massive amounts of change. They bring trajectory changes. So when you're on your path going somewhere, eclipse information, circumstances, events come in and whoop, just turn you totally in a different direction very often, or catapult you on the current path you're on in magical ways. You know, it's very intense energy, very profound, very radical energy. So the solar eclipses happen on the new moon. They bring in new opportunities, new energy. So the same way we have new beginnings at every new moon cycle, we have new moon beginnings in triplicate on the solar eclipse. So the solar eclipses happen on the new moon and they bring in new energy, new opportunities. And the lunar eclipses close out, bring to completion, bring to fruition old situations. Sometimes these endings are welcome. Sometimes they are not. Sometimes they are very emotional. If you consider this idea of the triplicate, the solar eclipse is like new moon energy times 3. So there's that much more power behind the newness, the initiation, the different path. And the same with the lunar eclipse. So full moons can tend to be emotional. And sometimes those emotions are great. Sometimes it's just something that's a happy emotion that's coming to fruition. And sometimes it's very, very not happy. You know, it's very emotional in a bad way. But in any case, the lunar eclipses often bring this emotion in triplicate. So the places where the new energy is coming in for Geminis, and this is for early, middle, and late degree, is your 10th house. The solar eclipse is happening in your 10th house. And the 10th house has to do with career and work and life purpose and father figures and authority figures. Occasionally a mother could be in there if she has a strong male energy. But the authority figures in our lives and your place in the world. So for many Geminis, you're having new opportunities about who you are in the world, what your place is in the world. Sometimes this can just be directly associated with your job, like you have recognition, you have opportunities, you have advancement, or you get a new job that's a better job, something notable with your work and your career and your life purpose. Maybe you don't have a job or a career or care for one, but you're looking for meaning in your life and you're trying to figure out what you're supposed to be doing. This solar eclipse can bring a new direction with feeling on track. And by the way, if you have never heard about studying your North Node, especially while this transit is happening, it can be very supportive to you. I talk about the North and South nodes in all of my readings. If I could only talk about 2 points in a chart, I would talk about the North and South node. They're directly related. The North node has to do with your highest expression in this lifetime. And the position of it in the sign, in the house, will show you the energies that encompass your dharma or your highest expression. There's a fantastic book called Astrology for the Soul by Jan Spiller. You can get it on Amazon. It's probably at a lot of bookstores. And you can see at least what sign your North Node is in. That book won't show you the house that it's in, which is also relevant, but you can do a lot of work with that. So if you're searching for meaning in your life, start to study your North Node because it's going to tell you the traps that you get stuck in from your South Node. It will tell you the benefits and gifts you have from your South Node to push you along your North Node path. And it can help you to really find your place. So all Geminis, this is what the story is, career, work, life, purpose. Early degree and some middle degree placements will have their lunar eclipse happening in the 5th house. Some middle and the rest of the later degree placements will have the lunar eclipse energies in the 4th house. So again, a reminder about who early, middle, and late placements are. The reason why I take the time to divide up the difference between the early and middle and late degree placements, sometimes it doesn't matter. Like for instance, with the solar eclipse, pretty much all Gemini placements will experience the solar eclipse energy in the 10th house. But there are situations where the energy is going to be different depending on what your degree of rising sign is, if you're watching for Gemini rising, or what degree or what date your birthday is. It's staggered and it can have a different effect. So the earlier degree placement, so like basically May-born Geminis are early degree placements, then the first third or 10-ish days of the June is the middle degree, and then the last 10 degrees, so basically, let's see, from 23rd, so like June 23rd back to around June 13th would be late placements, and then like 12 back to like June 2nd to June 12th would be middle, and then May-born in the first day or so of June would be early degree placements. And then if you're watching for your rising sign, 0 to 9 degrees would be early, and 10 to 19 degrees would be middle, and then 20 to 29 degrees would be late. So for you early degree placements and some of the middle degree placements, these endings, these closings, these coming to fruition events will be centered around something with your 5th house, which has to do with children, creativity, has to do with creative projects sometimes. If you're an artist, or if you're a singer or a musician or an athlete or an actor or a director, those energies are also in the 5th house, as well as hobbies, and it's also the house of true love. So a romantic relationship could be affected there. And again, it could be an actual ending where a person leaves your life, or it could be a chapter closes. Maybe a child graduates from a college or, a grade school or something where there's like an ending that goes on involving them. So something notable in that area. Or it could be that you've completed a creative project, something you've been working on comes to an end. So many of you will have that experience. The rest of the middle degree and later degree placements have this lunar eclipse closing out completion energy in the 4th house. This has to do with any and all of your family members, whether they're in your household or your bloodline. This can have to do with a home. Many people move or sell real estate during the time that there's a lunar eclipse in their chart, where their housing situation changes. Someone moves out of their house is sold, something, a relationship with a family member is affected, or in some way something there is eclipsed out of their lives, or a dimension of the experience, or a chapter closes. There could be something notable within your family. Maybe someone gets married and that's the last person in the family to get married, and now the family is different. There's so many different ways these endings can come into play. Also, a construction project could be ended, anything having to do with interior design, closing there. So these are the general ways the eclipses could affect Geminis. And we also have Mars retrograde. So Mars goes retrograde April 17th through June 29th. But we have a long shadow period on either end there. The shadow period for Mars retrograde starts at the end of February. Or actually it's more towards the middle of February. And then it runs into August. So we've got really like six plus months with Mars retrograde. Mars is the planet that rules our oomph. It's our get up and go. It's our gusto. It's our drive. It's the sexual force. It's the creative force. It's the initiating force within each of us. So that element is going to be affected in your life circumstances and in you personally. I'm going to do a separate video on Mars retrograde. So if this is the first week of February, then look on my YouTube channel for Mars retrograde and also for the corresponding blog it's easier for you to see things visually, or if you want to see both, you can go to anniehelpsyou.com and click on Astrology blog, and then you can search for Mars retrograde. So I'm not going to go into all the implications of the retrograde because there are many, but just the general understanding of how it relates to March is what I want to focus on. So Mars only goes retrograde once every 2-ish years, and when it does, it causes a slowdown. But what it can also cause is frustration, because so Mars is closer to us, so it revs up some of the Mars forces, but it's going backwards, so it makes us not be able to do that much about it, hence the frustration. Anger issues can come up as well. But for many people who have a lot of ambition, you could find that you are more relaxed, and that could make you more comfortably productive because it takes the edge off of you. So there are many different ways that this can manifest, but it is not the best time for initiating or moving to a deeper level of a romantic relationship. So getting together with someone romantically for the first time, moving in with them, getting engaged, getting married is not indicated during Mars retrograde, because the birth date of that relationship, or that layer of that relationship, has more of a chance to fizzle out when it's initiated during a time when Mars is not strong. Then also the same with a project. You want to birth your projects when you have the energy of the gusto of the universe behind your projects, so that they have more longevity. So if you want to completely avoid the Mars retrograde transit, do your launching in the first half of February. The rest of February will technically have Mars retrograde, but it's not going to be very strong. So all of February and the first half of March are really the safest times until the end of July and the first week in August. And then again, the other open window is like the end of October, all of November, and the beginning of December. So there's only 3 windows this year to try to push something forward. If you're trying to do that, you want to take advantage of these times, even if they may come with certain other implications, because they're better compared to the other placements. So we're working with a lot at this time. The eclipse energy in general is not the best time to push things forward, because the eclipses say, wait to respond, because you're going to need all your faculties to respond to the powerful news that's coming. So you don't want to be wrapped up in launching something. So this is a tricky thing. So what I'm recommending is, if you have something that has to be pushed forward, you can't wait till the summer, you've got to do it, then try to do it. Do your best. If the universe comes and squashes it and says, no, you're on a different path, be flexible and roll with it, and just do the best that you can. That I'm going to be very busy all February into March, and then I'm going to relax. That is my plan, and I put that out there for you to take that on as your intention. Sometimes, like I said before, the universe will very actively at an eclipse time support what you're doing. So you might put things into motion in February or March, and the eclipses might just take them all the way, So just try to stay in tune and really differentiate the best you can between your will and the divine will, and push the project forward that you really think need to be pushed forward, and let the rest not be pushed forward. So those are the main energies at play that I wanted to talk about. And you can go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com. You can check out my blogs. While you're there, you can see more about my coaching. You can click on coaching, and also check out my 28-day virtual coaching program called Shine, which is available on a sliding scale and is intended to help you strengthen your field so that you are less susceptible to being thrown around like a rag doll at the times of the transits, because transits show you weak links. The more you strengthen your weak links, the less you get thrown around. So that is the intention for the program. So you can see that there, anniehelpsyou.com. Click on programs, click on Shine. And while you're there, definitely sign up for my free email newsletter. I do a separate monthly write-up about the energies coming ahead for my group, and other things to come that I have planned for my crew. So I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you soon. Bye.